to the channel. My last video, I had mentioned moving my blog content to Substack. I have since changed my mind after hearing from some different people. So for housekeeping purposes, I am again back posting my blogs on my Ko-fi. So those are the links you need to be looking for at the end if you are interested in more of my content about books. This is Cecil B. Demented. I guess you could consider him our channel mascot. You say hi? You say hi? Wow, what are you staring at, crazy? We're sitting right next to the window, and I think there's somebody who's walking up to my house. What do you think, Bubba? You want to go watch? You go in the tree? All right. So, video that will be going up at the end of today, which is the 5th of February, is going to be talking about the violence. And again, you'll be able to find that blog on my Ko-fi, not on Substack. So make sure that you are subscribed there instead. Today I want to talk about, okay, I'm not going to mention specific books, all right? Because I don't want people to come for me. Like, genuinely, this is why I want to talk about it today, because the amount of people who act like if you are a diverse reader, you must like XYZ book that's going around diverse book spaces. Like, that is so fundamentally just wrong. Like, the fact that that is a sentiment that has been sort of like fostered, encouraged, indulged in book spaces is really upsetting to me, because, you know, yes, a book can be, you know, it's one of those, I am saying that the book is just not for me, but people will still find reasons to jump up my ass about not liking it. Like, let's be so fucking for real, guys. Really. When it comes to de-influencing yourself, I don't understand why people aren't more focused on de-influencing book spaces specifically. Like, I feel like if you are somebody who, for instance, is a bindery publisher, like you own your own imprint with bindery, I feel like you personally, as an individual, have sort of exchanged that for your right to engage in this internet call-out culture. Like, there was a popular book influencer who owns their own, and that I am using they them pronouns for anonymity purposes, not because they are non-binary or transgender. But this person it's not the first time that I've said, hey, we are in community with each other, please let's talk about doing better. Like, absolutely 100% calling in, which is ironic because the person is a part of a culture that directly, like, talks about being directly antithetical to the American culture of vigilantism and calling people out and disposing of people. Like, so for them to turn around and engage in that and not understand that that is what I was doing with them, like, I could have just said, hey, you're an asshole, and written them off. But I didn't. I said, hey, please, let's do better. And instead, they did what would get them the clicks and the clout on social media, and they dragged me. Okay, oh well, whatever. I stopped following them, I stopped promoting them, not a big deal. Until it happened again. I am all for giving people chances to change. But if you are an influencer who now influences a large portion of publishing through owning your own imprint, like, regardless of if it's an indie imprint, is not the point. The point is you now have power, and leveraging that power against somebody who is you hold privilege over is absolutely, it's wild to me that there would be people making excuses for that behavior. You are not owed a polite explanation for why you need to do better with making your content accessible as a book influencer. Like, that's not even including being a diverse book influencer, right? Like, it's one thing to be, promoting Sarah J. Maas and not be accessible because you've already telegraphed to the world that you don't care about marginalized voices by not listening to Black people. So, when it comes to the people who claim to know better because they promote the Black authors with the complicated names that the white influencers can't pronounce, like, but then they post graphics without our alt text. Like, and then not only do they meet requests to add alt text with, well, I'm owed no, you're not owed a polite education, first of all. Second of all, there was nothing rude about what I said. I said, how are you diverse if your diversity doesn't include disabled people? Please remember to add alt text. And this person blocked me after leaving a snide comment about how they felt I wasn't educating people properly. They're being very explicit at the government level, at the federal level, with how much they want to get rid of disabled people. Yet, this person has their own bindery imprint and is one of the most popular influencers on in all diverse book spaces, but Book Talk and Bookstagram specifically, like, it's just, and it's influencers like this person that make me afraid to say how I really feel about it. Was the book, I didn't even DNF this book, okay? It was a soft DNF because I had to return it to the library, and I recently was able to download Guillotine, which is, I wanted to read Guillotine before I read The Violence, so it was a soft DNF, but the reason why I should not be afraid to speak my truth, this book was putting me to sleep, right? It went from being this, breakneck paced war story to, about, the discussions around the war room or whatever, and like, I should be allowed to say that that was boring. I should be allowed to say it was not a great second effort from an author I know who can write better, without feeling like the influencers who disagree with me are going to be ableist or transphobic or whatever I've experienced in these communities. Like, the fact of the matter is, there is a reader for every book and a book for every reader. So the fact that influencing even had such a big impact, like, I get it, yay, yay, we're selling books now. That's great, that's great. At what cost? Because what this influencer has done to me really started to have an effect on my love of reading. And yes, a good portion of that is my own fault for letting it get to me. But also, if you've lost track of why you started reading in the first place, like, I didn't start reading to get popular. I started reading adult-sized chapter books when I was 9 years old. I was sneaking Tom Clancy and Dean Koontz off my dad's bedside table when I was 12. Like, when I started reading, even my nerdy friends thought that it was too fucking nerdy for me to want to go hang out at the bookstore instead of at the mall. Like, I didn't have popular friends, and even the friends that I did have wasted no time telling me how nerdy it was. Even them. So this whole, oh, you have such great taste, I want to read everything that you say is great. Why? Why does it matter? I've read books that everybody hated. I've loved books that everybody hated. I've hated books that everybody loved. Right? Ask me how I feel about the Darker Shades of Magic series, right? Absolutely, one of my favorite series of 2024. I am probably gonna DNF Gallant, and I soft DNF'd the first book in the Savage Song duology. You've heard me talk about how Victoria Schwab is one of my favorite and one of my autobi authors. I will still buy everything she writes. Like, to make your decision on whether or not to buy a book based on a tastemaker online is, I'm sorry. I don't understand how we got here. I don't understand how we got here. It's one thing to be like, oh, well, everything has, there's, 50 one-star reviews on Goodreads. I'm probably not gonna like it. But even at that, 90% of the indie horror I read has one-star reviews on Goodreads. But they're books that I am obsessed with. Just the idea that we need book influencers. It's a nice thing to have. But the way that everybody was treating it when TikTok was going away, like, yes, there are some people in the book influencing sphere, especially the people who are now owners of diverse imprints through Bindery. But that's not that's not their influencing, that's not their taste making as far as right. I don't read the books that these people recommend because I believe that they have infallible taste in books. I read the books that these people recommend because I believe that as Black and Indigenous people, they know what makes good Black and Indigenous literature. I don't understand why people don't see how people don't see that there is a difference. I'm not going to a cishet Black influencer, for instance, for my queer recommendations. But these influencers that are convinced that we should be. Because they're influencers, they're tastemakers, they have the height of taste. Okay, why aren't you promoting more disabled representation? Black disabled representation exists. Why are you focused on romance? Black Sapphic Outdrawn is one of my favorite romance books. People still be talking like they don't know any Black Sapphic romance. Like, I just joined a newsletter from somebody on Blue Sky who's trying to get eyes on her fantasy Sapphic romance. Like, it's one of those things where I get that people don't want to look at the nuance, but considering that they're about to take away 90% of the books that you've all convinced yourself are worth anything, like, the panic is unreal. Okay, the cis white fantasy romance or romantasy or smutty whatever authors will survive the purges. It's the queer romantasy authors, the Black smut writers, the, Canadian Black and brown authors that have huge audiences in the United States. Like, I'm not worried about what this is going to do to the cis white women who write smut. I'm not. And the people who promote diversity think that being concerned about that is somehow radical enough. Like, you're concerned about having your access to smut removed. Valid fear. What about the authors who write disability representation into their smut? They're not just going to be targeted because they write smut. They are going to be imprisoned in mental wards and potentially, have psychological torture used on them because they're also disabled. Like, the ways in which people have not thought through what ignoring disability access in book spaces is going to do to those book spaces. Like it's a classic example of you never think it's going to happen to you until it does. Right? And I could scream about these influencers that are just perpetuating these Nazi ideas that, you know, as long as you're racially diverse, you don't need to include disabled people. Like, if it weren't for the eugenics performed on disabled people, they wouldn't know how to perform eugenics on everyone else. Like, y'all who are so scared about being a handmaid, but you won't wear a fucking mask. Okay? The handmaids got to live. They got to live because they were fertile. You know what affects your fertility? Long COVID. So instead of being kept as a handmaid, you're going to be the one pushed into the mass grave. I just don't understand why people are unwilling to see how harmful people like that are. And that's why I get blocked so quickly, because they know the harm they are causing. They know what they are doing by perpetuating ableism in diverse spaces. They know. That's why I get blocked immediately with no engagement, not even one attempt at good faith. And this is 2025. We're not doing that whole, we're not gonna listen to you because you don't have followers. We're not going to listen to you because you have different opinions about YouTube and whatever. Like, I'm a marginalized fucking person too. I talk about queer issues. I talk about neurodivergent issues that very commonly get suppressed on this fucking platform. But I do it anyway. Because I'm a fighter. Because I'm not just going to roll over and let the Nazis or the rude asses or the racists or the ableists take over my space. You can control comments. You can shut them off completely if you want. Literally every other platform has what I do, what I try to do, is cross-post. If I'm posting a controversial video that I want people who are going to be nice to me to be able to follow, I will close the comments on YouTube and then post a video for my subscribers on Ko-fi. That way they don't have access to my sanity, but the people that follow me still have a place where they can go engage with the content of the video in good faith. Like, okay, you want to block me because I said that people need to stop shit-talking YouTube as a platform for book talkers? Like, every platform is queerphobic, racist, and full of Nazis now. They're emboldened everywhere. And I'm sorry if you don't like hearing that I think it's cowardly if you are ceding your space without exhausting every other option to protect your peace. But that's just me. That's just me, I guess. But yeah, I just, when it comes to this whole influencing book influencer thing, like, even if you are a diverse book influencer, I truly feel very, very strongly about this sort of like managing your lane, right? Like, no, I'm not going to take diverse book recommendations on somebody who claims to represent all diversity, but won't make their content accessible. Not only is that showing that you shouldn't be taking their recommendations on any sort of content with disability representation, you probably shouldn't be taking any of their recommendations regardless. Because that's somebody who hasn't thought about the intersections of fatness, queerness, Jewishness, transness, being two-spirit, if you're indigenous, like, there's just so much that lacking disability representation on your platform, there's just so much that says about you as a person. I really, really am gonna need people to lock in and stop. I mean, you can keep supporting people like that, but stop enabling that behavior. If they're gonna block me for it, you talk to them about it. Maybe they'll listen to you. Because they sure as fuck ain't listening to me. I forgot I had tea up there waiting. It is now cold, but I desperately need it because my tummy hurts. But at least I can drink it quickly now. But yeah, that is where I'm headed for 2025. Like, read what I read, don't read what I read. Like, that's not the point of what I want to build here. So I think that now that I got that figured out, it's going to be a lot easier. Once again, this is my Ko-fi. It'll also be in the end page or whatever. I am going to, now that I know for sure that I'm not going to be posting on Substack, I'm going to be back to making sure that I post at least twice a week on my Ko-fi. I am also I'm handwriting the first draft of my book. I'm about, I'd say, a 16th to maybe a quarter of the way through my first draft. So that is taking up a much greater portion of my time than reading is right now. But there's at least 3 or 4 books that I want to make sure that I at least start during Black History Month. I have my Kindle, on which I am currently reading Supersized Bubblegum by E.A. Noble. This book is fantastic. Black, queer, plus-size representation. Absolutely freaking fantastic. I have brought my, if you look, my incredibly damaged former reading tablet. I've brought it out of commission. I mean, back into commission. Here is the interesting thing about that. The battery goes down, boom, incredibly quickly, which is a little bit annoying. But that being said, I am finishing up House of Frank. I have The Weight of Blood, Blacktop Wasteland, The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson, Blacktop Wasteland by S.A. Cosby, My Soul to Keep. That is Tananarive, is that her name, or how you pronounce that? Due. Absolutely stoked to read that. Immortal Dark. All Black stories that I want to finish this month. I also have The Name Bearer, which I should be getting my box from the giveaway any day now. I don't want to be that person that's like, hey, what's going on, because the world just exploded. And the author that I'm getting these books from, Natalia Hernandez, was already having some personal, things that she needed to take care of. So I'm trying to be patient on that. I do have an ebook copy of The Name Bearer that I got from a Stuff Your Kindle event. So I might start it anyway. But I'm definitely going to get into those other books for the rest of Black History Month. I think that's it. I'm still reading Renegades. I'm still reading Six Crimson Cranes. Like I said, with this writing, trying to get back into my writing more, I just am not doing as much reading as I usually do. So I'm not churning out the books, but that's pretty much where I'm at. Very first book I intend to talk about in March, Guillotine. Delilah Dawson is amazing. She's my queen, and I love her. So, yes, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Please. I get so worried that my people can't find me because I don't have a regular schedule. So unless you ring the notification bell, you wouldn't know when I have new videos. So please consider that. Consider heading to my Ko-fi, subscribing there. As I said, if there's anything controversial that comes up, I'm just gonna shut off the comments here and we can talk about it over there. So make sure you're subscribed over there if you want to participate in the good faith conversations. Other than that, we will see you. I will likely be making another video. I'm doing a horror movie watch-a-thon, and I want to talk about some of the videos that I've been watching, because I've been purposefully choosing movies that I've either never heard of or that just look campy and like stupid or whatever. So I want to make sure that I get at least one video about that in before my birthday, because it was a series 42 before 42, and I've watched at least 2 or 3 dozen movies lately. So I want to make sure that I get that taken care of and uploaded, because it's gonna be a long video. But yeah, so that being said, we'll see you hopefully over on Ko-fi, on Blue Sky, Storygraph, Bookem, Ko-fi. Anything else I can think of where you might be able to find me, I will make sure to include it in the end. We'll see you in the next video.